By the time you agree to share an apartment with an alien exchange student, you think you've already accepted the weirdest parts of your life. The triple checking of gravity settings. The color-coded food warnings. The fact that she once apologized to a chair for bumping into it because objects deserve courtesy. All of that felt manageable. Normal, even. What I did not expect was to be medically imprisoned in my own bedroom because my roommate panicked over something every human male has dealt with since puberty. Her name was Zelthira, and she was brilliant in the way only someone with 3 science degrees and 0 common sense could be. She approached life like a research paper with legs. Everything had a hypothesis. Everything needed data. And unfortunately for me, humans were her favorite unsolved mystery. That night started harmlessly enough. I was getting ready to sleep, doing the universal human ritual of lying on my bed and staring at the ceiling while questioning my life choices. Zelthira poked her head in, eyes glowing faintly as her translator hummed. She asked if she could run a brief wellness scan. She said it the way someone says, "Mind if I breathe?" I said yes because saying no only made her more curious. The scanner hovered, warm and softly buzzing, sliding over me like a cautious insect. At first, she narrated calmly, muttering things about hydration levels and muscular density. Then the buzzing changed pitch. The scanner paused. Her eyes narrowed. She leaned closer, tapping her wrist console with growing urgency. "That is unusual," she said. "Those are words you never want to hear from someone holding medical equipment." She ran the scan again. Slower this time. The scanner beeped sharply. Zelthira inhaled so fast her frills fluttered. "Your internal pressure is rising," she said. "Blood flow has increased in a very specific region." I groaned and covered my face. "It's normal. Please tell me you've read at least one human anatomy book published after the Cold War." She ignored me, fingers flying over her console. "Heart rate elevated. Neural stimulation pattern irregular. Oh stars, you are experiencing a stress cascade." "I'm experiencing embarrassment," I corrected. "There's a difference." Her pupils dilated. "Your species manifests stress in this manner?" she asked, horrified and fascinated at the same time. Before I could answer, the room lights snapped to an aggressive shade of medical blue. The door behind her hissed and sealed shut. I sat up. "Why did the door just lock?" Zelthira straightened, voice shifting into a crisp, professional tone I'd only heard once before, when the smoke detector thought toast was a war crime. "Biological emergency protocol activated," she announced. "You are not to leave the containment area." "Containment area?" I repeated. "That's my bedroom." "Yes," she said gently. "It is the safest room to observe you while your condition stabilizes." "My condition is called being alive," I snapped. And I was planning to grab water. She stepped between me and the door, hands clasped behind her back like a very polite bouncer. "Movement could worsen the vascular expansion," she said. "Please remain horizontal." I stared at her. She stared back. Her console beeped again. "Oh no," she whispered. "It's fluctuating. That's because you locked me in a room with you and started narrating my blood flow like it's a documentary," I said. "Anyone would fluctuate." She tilted her head. "You are responding defensively. That confirms the severity." She tapped her wrist again. The bed adjusted itself, inclining just enough to feel intentional. I lay back, defeated. "You realize this is a misunderstanding, right?" She hesitated, eyes flicking to the data stream hovering in front of her. "On my world," she said slowly, "this condition precedes organ failure in 92% of cases." I laughed despite myself. "Congratulations. Humans are the other 8%. She didn't laugh. She activated a recorder. "Subject displaying humor as coping mechanism," she said aloud. "Monitoring will continue throughout the night." I stared at the ceiling again, the door firmly sealed, the lights humming softly, my alien roommate standing guard like I was one bad thought away from exploding. That's when it hit me. I wasn't leaving this room anytime soon. The first thing I tried after accepting my fate was reason. Calm, rational, adult reason. I explained, slowly, using small words, that nothing was wrong with me, that what she was seeing was a perfectly normal biological response, and that locking me in my own bedroom was a dramatic overreaction bordering on a hostage situation. Zelthira listened politely, nodding along, her eyes never leaving the glowing data stream hovering between us. When I finished, she blinked twice and said, "Your denial response is remarkably strong." "I am not in denial," I said. "I am in pajamas." She lifted one finger. "Please remain calm. Elevated agitation may cause further escalation. I'm escalating because you won't open the door." She glanced at the sealed exit as if it had personally offended her. "I cannot," she said. "Protocol does not permit release until stabilization is confirmed." "Confirmed by who?" "By me." That explained a lot. She moved closer, close enough that I could smell something faintly metallic and floral, like warm electronics and alien shampoo. She gestured for me to lie back down. When I hesitated, she frowned at her console. "Subject resisting recommended posture," she muttered. "Subject wants personal space. Personal space has been suspended for medical reasons." Before I could argue further, the room shifted again. The lights dimmed. The air warmed slightly. A soft hum filled the space. I felt the bed subtly adjust beneath me, cradling instead of supporting. "What did you just do?" I asked. "I am initiating relaxation measures," she said. "Stress exacerbates your condition. You must be soothed. Please never say it like that again." She ignored me, pulling a small device from her belt and scanning the air above my chest. "Respiration uneven. Muscular tension present. You are holding anxiety in your shoulders." "That's because you're standing over me with a scanner and a clipboard," I said. "Anyone would be tense." She reached out without warning and pressed 2 fingers lightly against my shoulder. I froze. She frowned in concentration. "Your musculature is excessively rigid," she said. "I will reduce tension manually." I swatted her hand away. "Absolutely not," she recoiled, startled. "You object to physical reassurance?" "I object to surprise physical reassurance from someone who thinks I'm one symptom away from dying." She paused, then nodded solemnly. "Consent acknowledged," she said. "I will instead employ verbal calming techniques. That sounds safer." She cleared her throat and began speaking into her recorder. "Initiating auditory relaxation protocol," she announced. Then, turning to me, she said in a slow, measured voice, "Your vascular response is impressive in scale but statistically non-lethal. Blood circulation remains strong. Endurance indicators are high." I stared at her. "You realize everything you're saying sounds wildly inappropriate, right?" She tilted her head. "The terminology is purely clinical. Clinical doesn't mean innocent." She considered that, then added, "Your species sexualizes everything. That is the most accurate thing you've said all night." She resumed narrating anyway. "Subject exhibits adaptive humor, resilience, and notable stamina despite prolonged confinement. Stop complimenting my stamina like it's a medical miracle." She made a note. "Human discomfort increases when praised." Time stretched. Minutes blurred together as she hovered, scanned, recorded, and occasionally gasped softly at minor fluctuations. Every shift of my body earned commentary. Every sigh was logged. I had never been so thoroughly observed while doing absolutely nothing. At some point I asked, "Do you really think humans are that fragile?" She hesitated. "Your species has contradictory data," she admitted. "You survive extreme environments, emotional trauma, and questionable dietary choices. Yet your mating behaviors are inefficient." "That's not what this is," I said. "This is just biology being biology." She studied me, eyes softer now, curiosity outweighing fear. "If this is normal," she said quietly, "then humans are far more durable than our records suggest." "Congratulations," I said. "We're a mess, but we're hard to break." She didn't unlock the door. Instead, she pulled a chair closer and sat down beside the bed. "Observation will continue," she said, "for the remainder of the night." I sighed, staring at the ceiling again, trapped under watchful alien eyes, wondering how long a night could feel when you're being medically admired against your will. Sometime after my sense of time gave up entirely, the silence between us shifted from awkward to dangerous. Not the violent kind, worse. The kind where conversation starts happening just to fill the void. Zelthira sat far too close, legs folded beneath her on the floor, console resting in her lap. The recorder was off now, which somehow made things feel more intimate and more suspicious. "So," she said at last, eyes still on the data stream, "is prolonged eye contact uncomfortable for humans?" "Yes," I said immediately. "Extremely." She looked up. Did not look away. "Noted." I sighed. "You know, if you're going to keep me locked in here all night, we could at least talk like normal roommates." Her frills twitched. "We have not previously engaged in nocturnal bonding dialogue." "That is not what I meant," I said. "But sure. Let's call it that." She considered me in silence for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. I will ask a neutral question." She paused. "Why do humans tolerate roommates they are attracted to?" I choked. "That's your neutral question? It appears frequently in your entertainment media," she said. "Prolonged cohabitation, suppressed desire, escalating tension. Is it a ritualized form of endurance testing?" "No," I said. "It's called bad decision-making." She hummed thoughtfully. "That aligns with my observations." Despite myself, I laughed. She watched me like she just discovered fire. "Laughter reduces your stress indicators," she said. "I should have employed humor earlier." "You really shouldn't," I said. "You're bad at it." "I am learning," she replied. "For example, if you were to expire tonight, I would be legally required to inherit your furniture." I stared at her. "That's not a joke. It is meant to be comforting," she said. "Your couch appears resilient." I shook my head, smiling despite everything. "You know, for someone who panicked over my biology, you're oddly calm now." She glanced away. "The reading stabilized," she said. "And prolonged proximity has altered my perception." "Altered how?" She hesitated, fingers tightening around her console. "On my world, sharing a confined resting space overnight is considered significant." "Define significant." She didn't answer right away. Her skin tone shifted subtly, a warmer hue I'd learned meant embarrassment. "It is not done casually," she said. "It implies trust, vulnerability, intent." "Well," I said lightly, "I didn't intend to trigger an interstellar relationship milestone by lying down wrong." She met my eyes again, and this time she did look away. "Intent is irrelevant," she murmured. "Outcome remains." The air felt thicker after that. Not charged exactly, but aware. She adjusted her position, sitting cross-legged now, closer than before. I became acutely conscious of the fact that I was still stuck on the bed, still being observed, but no longer as a patient. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "At this point," I replied, "I don't think I have the power to stop you." "Why did you not become angry?" she asked. "You express frustration, but not hostility." I shrugged. "Humans adapt. We complain, we joke, we deal with it. Besides, you were trying to help. In a deeply misguided way." Her lips curved slightly. "That adaptability is remarkable." "Why?" I muttered. She tilted her head. "That phrase again." "Humanity, hell yeah," I explained. "It's a compliment." She nodded slowly. "I will record that later." We sat in silence again, but it was different now. Softer. The kind that sneaks up on you. At some point, she admitted she'd never spent a full night focused on one individual before. That her people avoided prolonged one-on-one observation because it led to empathic entanglement. "That sounds fake," I said. It is documented, she replied. And I may already be compromised. I raised an eyebrow. Compromised how? She glanced at the sealed door, then back at me. I no longer wish to unlock it immediately, she said. Not for protocol reasons. My stomach flipped. Zelthira. Do not misinterpret, she added quickly. I am not endangering you. I am simply reconsidering my initial assumptions. And what assumptions were those? That humans are fragile, she said. And that this night would be unbearable. She hesitated, then added softly, I was incorrect on both counts. Morning crept in the artificial way it always did on this station, light panels brightening in careful increments like they were afraid to startle us. I hadn't slept much. Neither had Zelthira. She sat where she'd been for hours, posture slightly slouched now, console dark and forgotten in her lap. When the lights reached full brightness, she blinked like she'd been caught doing something she couldn't quite explain. Well, I said, voice rough. If this is how I die, I want it noted that I was technically right. She looked at me sharply. Then, slowly, she exhaled. You are not dying, she said. Your vitals are stable. Your condition resolved itself naturally. Shocking, I said. Almost like I told you it would. She winced. Yes. I have reviewed the night. Her skin shifted again, that warm, embarrassed hue. I may have misapplied emergency authority. May have? I asked. She stood abruptly and crossed to the door. Her wrist device chimed, and the seal disengaged with a soft hiss. The door slid open like it had never done anything wrong in its life. She stepped aside, clearing the path. You are free to leave, she said formally. I didn't move right away. I sat up, stretching, joints popping. You know, I said, that's the first time anyone's ever locked me in a room overnight, and apologized afterward. Her frills twitched. On my world, apologies are issued only after reflection. How long do you usually reflect? Several planetary cycles. Impressive, I said. You managed it in one night. She watched me stand, eyes tracking me without meaning to. I noticed. She noticed that I noticed. It was that kind of silence. The kind that says something changed, and neither of you knows exactly where to put it. I owe you restitution, she said. That sounds expensive. It can be conversational, she clarified quickly. Or nutritional. Or voluntary proximity. I laughed. Careful. That's how misunderstandings start. She smiled faintly. So I have learned. I stepped into the doorway, then paused. For what it's worth, I said, I know you were trying to help. You just aimed a little, aggressively. Her shoulders relaxed. I panicked, she admitted. Your data contradicted my expectations. And when that happens, my species defaults to control. Humans do that too, I said. We just pretend it's confidence. She considered that. You did not attempt to overpower me. Or disable the lock. I thought about it, I said. But then I realized explaining things was easier than starting an interstellar incident. Her lips curved upward. Your restraint is notable. Don't get used to it. We stood there for a moment, the open door between us feeling less like an exit and more like a suggestion. She glanced at the bed, then away. Shared confinement, she said quietly, accelerates emotional familiarity. That's one way to put it. She hesitated. I will update my report. Oh? Yes, she said, activating her console again. Entry revision. Humans are not biologically fragile. They are socially complex, psychologically resilient, and prone to humor under duress. High praise, I said. She added one more line, then stopped. Addendum, she said softly. Humans tolerate vulnerability with remarkable grace. I met her eyes. Careful, I said. That almost sounded like admiration. Her skin warmed again. Observational admiration, she corrected. Of course. I stepped fully into the hall, then turned back. Just so we're clear, I said. Next time you think I'm dying, maybe ask before sealing the room. She nodded. Agreed. Then, after a beat, she added, However, should you ever request overnight observation, the protocol is already configured. I stared at her. She stared back, perfectly serious. Good morning, she said. I shook my head, smiling despite myself, and walked out. Behind me, I heard her console chime softly as she logged one final note. Human adaptability confirmed, she murmured. Personal interest, ongoing. I decided not to ask what protocol that fell under.